Pricing your projects as a motion designer is hard. I want to make it a little bit easier with these 5 tips. So let's jump right in.
Number 1, thinking in thousands rather than hundreds. Number 2, your get out of bed amount of money. Third, how to ask better questions so that you can be set up as an expert. Number 4, I'll talk about how you can make more money if you talk about it on Zoom with your potential clients. And number 5, who you should stop seeking advice from.
Tip number 1 is to think in thousands rather than hundreds. If you're thinking in hundreds, you're automatically cutting yourself off from making a better living as a motion designer, at least in the United States and other similar cost of living countries. If you think about it this way, if you are charging by the day, which happens a lot with motion designers freelancing for studios, you're going to get paid better than if you are charging by the hour. Most people will only work 8 hours, but you might work only 7 or 6 in a day. But if you're getting booked, let's say you're waiting on feedback, you're still getting paid for the whole day. But if you're charging by the hour, you'll get paid less. Imagine if you tried charging by the minute, you'd get paid even less. The further down the chain you go, the less you get paid. And so if you're thinking in thousands, you're automatically going to be making more than if you're thinking in hundreds, as opposed to thinking in tens or ones or pennies. So the higher up you can get your thinking, get your mind wrapped around pricing based on thousands rather than hundreds, which is very, very doable in motion design as a freelancer, you will automatically be making it easier on yourself to price, and you can make more money. Tip number 2 is to have a get out of bed amount of money. This is a little different than the think in thousands versus think in hundreds, because this could be applied to something as small as a little project tweak. So if a client comes to you and says, hey, we have to change the copy at the end of the project, don't just do it for free. You've already turned the project in. This is work. Have a get out of bed amount of money in mind before they do this. This way you can go, yep, that'll cost $500, something like that. This could be half a day of work, could be a minimum of 3 hours. The trouble is you might think, oh, it'll only take a few minutes to make the change. But really, you have to get out of bed. You have to turn on your computer. Maybe you have to travel to your co-working space that you work out of. And then you have to find the project, open the project, find the right comp, reread the email, change the copy, double check that it's right, render it, watch the render, upload it, make sure the upload worked, send the copy. It's going to take you half a day, which takes you away from all the other activities you could be doing to either make money or find new clients. So have a get out of bed amount of money. That way it's easy for you the next time your client comes to you with a small tweak. Tip number 3, ask better questions. First, let's go over some standard questions. Hello, Mr. Client. Do you have a script? How many seconds is the video going to be? What style is it going to be in? Do you have a delivery date in mind? Those are good questions to ask, but they're pretty basic and they won't really help you with your pricing. Here are some better questions. What are you hoping to achieve with this project? What's at stake if we don't do this right? Have you worked with freelancers in the past? How did it go? What went wrong? What went great? Have you had success with projects like this in the past? If so, what made them successful? Think of it this way. If you ask better questions, your clients will perceive you as an expert, not just in making cool animations, but as somebody who can partner with them to help them solve business problems. People pay way better to solve business problems than to have cool stuff. Tip number 4 is to talk about numbers on the phone, specifically on Zoom, because if you can talk about numbers on Zoom, you get to see their body language, and people can't help but give away how they feel. If you can learn to read body language, you are well on your way to pricing better and more easily. So here's a tip within the tip. Don't necessarily say this is going to cost $10,000, but you could say, for projects similar to this, the typical range for me is between $5,000 and $15,000. And then wait and see how they react to it. This doesn't have to be your final proposal, so you get to see their reaction. If they're very chill about it, you know that maybe the upper range isn't going to be all that scary for them. And if you're an introvert and you're scared of doing this, trust me, it's fine. I'm an introvert. I have grown to put myself out there and not be quite so scared. The more you do it, the easier it gets and the more confidence you build, which makes it easier to make a great living as a motion designer. Tip number 5 is to ask people who are more experienced than you what they think you should do. Don't ask your mom. Don't ask your friend. Don't ask Reddit. Good God. Ask people who are more successful than you what you should be doing to become more successful yourself. Now, if you don't have friends that are more successful, then you have a networking problem. You need to be connecting with people that are above your pay grade. This is not easy. It's easier said than done, but it should be done. It's something that's helped me a ton in figuring out how I can price myself higher than I was before, because when I started out, I was not making much money. So if you have a networking problem, I'll make another video that goes much deeper into how to network, but just know that it's possible to connect with people that are more experienced than you so that you can learn from them. So to recap, here are the 5 ways to make pricing your motion design projects easier. Number 1, think in thousands, not hundreds. Not only is this easier, but it will make you more money more quickly. Number 2, what's your get out of bed amount? What's the least amount of money you'll take to get out of bed, turn your computer on, find your project, do the work, send the renders, email them, blah, blah, blah. Number 3, ask better questions. When you ask better questions, you instill more confidence and you actually get to the heart of the business problems that you can solve with your animations so that you can charge more and more easily charge higher numbers. Number 4 is to talk numbers over video chat. That way you can read their body language and get a better idea if the final project quote that you give them is going to fly or flop. Number 5 is to ask somebody with more experience than you, if you know if you're doing the right thing, what should you actually be charging? And if you don't know someone that's more experienced that you feel confident and comfortable asking, you have a networking problem, which we'll solve in a different video. But you should be connecting with people that are above your pay grade and who can bring you up rather than keep you where you're at. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe. I also have a newsletter where I give out tips on how to make more money as a freelance motion designer. Links below.